don't go anywhere. Stick and stay. It's important, especially when the eyes are mentioned. It's the first time I'm hearing this. Refractive error. In fact, I didn't know there was a whole day committed to refractive error. We're joined in studio by Dr. Kwame Obinyako, who is PRO, Ghana Optometric Association. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, Senna. How are you doing?
I'm doing. I hope you are too.
Well, I'm very good.
How our friends are Third Eye Care?
They are doing very well, and like Third Eye always does, it always has something for the world.
Okay.
Next month, we are coming up with Kiddie Eye Care Day again.
Oh.
Yes, it's 5 days of free eye examination for children, and if they need glasses, medication, we give it to them all for free.
Okay.
So we are about the people, and we always have something for the people.
The fantastic thing is that after doing the one for over 60s, you've decided to make it a permanent feature.
Yeah.
A lot more of them coming to take advantage of that discount you're offering at 50% rate.
More and more old people keep popping in and taking advantage of it and keep referring it to their other friends who are 60 and above. And every day people turn 60. And every day people go on pensions. And every day people's incomes reduce because of pensions. And they are all taking advantage of this program. And I think it's going a long way to actually help and support them. We are also thinking about something for the disabled as well, where we'll be providing disabled people with 50% discount on every service they get from us as well, because they are also a vulnerable group that needs support. We need to also make sure their eyes are good enough to keep them economically active despite the disabilities that they may have. So that is the kind of support that we are going to be giving that group of people. We'll be launching that soon. But now is the turn of
I know. I'm just checking on Third Eye Care. That's all. Well, first of all, tell us about, because I want to start from the refractive error day. Which particular day is this supposed to fall on? And what are you supposed to do on that particular day before we come to education on what refractive error is?
So, globally, there's nothing like refractive error day or week. But the Ghana Optometric Association, being an advocate in eye care and seeing the need for the public to be educated on refractive errors, decided to come up with this project of Refractive Error Week and Refractive Error Day, where we educate the general public on refractive errors, because refractive errors affects everybody. Babies, children, teenagers, adults, and the aged. No one is left out. Some people get it, are born with it. Some people get it along the way as they grow, and at every stage in your life, there are different things that goes on in the body and the eye that can actually lead you to having refractive errors. And we also realize that there is no national strategy to manage refractive errors. And refractive errors affect the economy directly. They affect the economy directly because they tend to reduce productivity. And there's evidence to it. Research was done in India amongst cotton pickers who were above 40. And those who were above 40 who were not wearing glasses, they were picking up to the tune or wage of $34 a day. And then there was another group that had glasses, and they were picking up to $47 a day. There's a wide difference in their earnings. And that comes to how an economy can suffer if refractive errors are not paid attention to. Then you talk about children's education. Parents spend so much on their children in order to get them educated. But if your child is a passenger or a passive participant in the whole education process because he or she is not seeing well, it's throwing water into a leaking basket. You are not educating that child. That child is missing out. That child is a passenger. And it is this same child that is going to grow up and contribute to the economy. So it also is important to make sure that these people are also well taken care of, because refractive errors can also take away their economic contribution as well. And for sports people as well, who also contribute significantly to the economies as well. These things are also things that can actually affect their performance on the job. And we thought that all these groups of people, whether they are children, whether they are adults, whether they are sportsmen, whether they are military people, whether they are politicians, their eyes have to be in the proper place in order for them to serve well. And with us throwing light on refractive error and developing a strategy for managing refractive errors, we can also contribute to the economic development of Ghana and the world.
And from everything you said, this is a big deal. But I want to find out, is it the first one you're doing, the refractive error day or week, or you've done it in the past? And on what day does it fall?
This is the first of its kind.
Okay.
This is the first of its kind in Ghana. Okay. This is the first of its kind in Africa. And this is the first of its kind in the world. It's going to be the very first week of July every single year, where we are going to commemorate it in Ghana and hopefully in Africa and hopefully in the world, because that's the plan, to get the world to pay attention to refractive errors, because it's a serious problem. And the day will always be the last Friday of the first week.
The last Friday of the first week
of July. That's when refractive error day will.
So that's tomorrow.
Be. So that's tomorrow.
Okay. We'll come to what you're doing tomorrow and where you'll be doing it. But first, now tell us, what is refractive error?
Okay. So before the world can understand refractive errors, we need to also let the world know how the eye sees.
Okay.
And it is based on how the eye sees that we can be able to talk about the condition refractive errors. Okay. So Sana, as you look at me now, light is bouncing off my body.
Okay.
And it is entering your eyes.
Okay.
Now when it enters your eye, the eye must bend this light to one particular point at the back of the eye.
Okay.
And if all the light is getting to that one particular point at the back of the eye, then you are seeing clearly without any distortions.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about refractive errors, we are talking about a situation where even when the light is bent by the eye, all the light does not fall at that one particular point at the back of the eye where it's supposed to fall. It can fall in front of that particular point, or behind that particular point, or be spread over an area on that particular point where the light is supposed to be. And that leads generally to blurred vision. And that is what refractive error is. And when we talk about refractive errors, there are four main types of refractive errors. We are talking about short-sightedness or myopia. People who cannot see things very well at far, but when it's close to them, they see. And it can happen to people of all ages. Then there's what we call hyperopia. Those are far-sighted people. People who see things very well when it's far, but then when it's close, they struggle. However, there are people with hyperopia who also struggle with far vision, but their near vision is worse than the far vision problem. Then we have astigmatism. There are these people who tend to see things in the blur way. However, for them, mostly the edges of objects appear wavy and shaky. And that is astigmatism. And the last one that most people above the age of 40 experience is what we call presbyopia. That is age-related difficulty reading or seeing at near. And it usually starts in people above the age of 40. So the difference between presbyopia and then the hyperopia is that hyperopia affects people of all ages. And hyperopia is a far-sightedness, where far appears better than when it's close to you. But in presbyopia, it affects people 40 years and above.
So those are the people who tend to give them something, then they do.
They take it back. Or they are looking for light to shine on the material.
For them to see clearly.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and those are all as a result of refractive
errors. Yes.
What causes the refractive error?
So when we talk about refractive errors, we'll discuss it under three main causes. First of all, we'll look at the length of the eyeball.
The length of the eyeball.
Length of the eyeball. The eye is supposed to have a particular length in order for when light passes through, it can manipulate the light such that it will hit that one particular point at the back of the eye. But in some people, their eyeballs are too long. So it causes the point where the image is supposed to be formed to come forward and not on the area where it's supposed to fall, causing them not to see things well at far. And there's another group of people, their eyeballs are rather shorter than it's actually supposed to be. Taking cognizance of the standard length that I mentioned earlier. So for them, the image is falling way beyond that point where it's supposed to fall. So when they are trying to look at things that near, then it is difficult for them. They will not be able to read. And this is the main cause of those who have the short-sightedness and the far-sightedness and the presbyopia. Now, we can also look at the strength of the eyeball. The eye also has to have a particular strength. There's an average amount of strength that the eye is supposed to have. For some people, the strength of the eye is so high, so much so that it bends the light that is entering the eye too much that it's not able to hit that point where it's supposed to hit, causing the person to have blurred vision. And this usually happens in those who are short-sighted. And then there's that group of people where the strength of the eye is so low, so much so that the image is falling behind where it's actually supposed to fall. And this happens in the far-sighted and the presbyopic people. That is, the presbyopics are those above 40 who are struggling to read. And then there's a large group where the curvature of the eye, you see, before the light is bent, there's a curvature. If you look into anybody's eyes, you see a black area, but in front of that black area is a transparent glassy structure that is responsible for bending the light that is entering the eye. And it is further facilitated by the lens in the eyeball, which bends it further for all the light to hit that one point at the back of the eye. But for some people, these curvatures, that's the cornea and the lens, they are irregular, and it causes the image or the light to spread over an area, causing a distortion in the edges. The edges appear wavy-like, and that's usually the main cause of refractive errors. However, there are some conditions that may predispose you to having a refractive error. The first one is age.
Age?
Yes. If we are taking the presbyopics, usually people about 40 tend to start having difficulties reading. So they tend to have that kind of refractive error. Now, we talk about people with a family history. You can come from a family where everybody or most people wear glasses. You might have inherited the refractive error gene, causing you to have either a short eyeball, a long eyeball, a stronger eyeball, a weaker eyeball, or the curvatures of the eyes being irregular. That could be something that you could inherit from the family. Now we'll talk about race. There are some races that have
race is also a part of it.
You realize that the Asians, they tend to wear glasses a lot. You look at the Chinese people. Yes. So among certain races, you would find some types of refractive errors, like myopia or short-sightedness. So race is also a risk factor when it comes to refractive errors. Now, there are some medical conditions that could also put you at risk of having refractive errors. One is diabetes. When your sugar goes up, it tends to affect the media of the eye and then also the lens of the eye, causing your vision to become blurred. So it predisposes you to having refractive error because it affects the eye's focusing ability. Then it causes your vision to become blurred. There are also some eye conditions that can lead you to having refractive errors. One is cataract. It's because cataract affects one of the refracting surfaces or the curvatures of the eyes, where it starts becoming opaque. Once light is not passing through it well, it means the lens is not able to focus the light very well, causing you to also have blurred vision. And then we'll go to the standard causes, which are also risk factors, which include the length of the eyeball, it being too short or too long, the strength of the eyeball, it being too strong or too weak, or the curvature of the eyes, them being irregularly curved. And those could be some of the risk factors that would predispose you to refractive errors.
Very interesting. If you just join us, we are talking about refractive error. In fact, it's so serious an issue that the Ghana Optometric Association has decided to dedicate a week to it. This is the very first one they are doing. In fact, the day is tomorrow. We'll tell you what they'll be doing tomorrow. But how do I know, Doc, that I have refractive issues with refractive error? What are the signs that I must look out for?
Good. So most of the people with refractive error tend to complain of blurred vision, either at far or near, or images appearing quite distorted. Some of them, because they are straining to see, they tend to have a lot of eye pain and headaches. For some, they have crossed eyes where one is looking somewhere and another one is looking at another place. I look me or me share me baby. Yes. For some people, it's because of refractive errors. That is why their eyes tend to be appearing that way. There are some people who are constantly straining and have frowns on their faces. It is not because they are angry or the world is not treating them right. It's just because they are straining constantly to see. So people tend to think that they have a frown on their faces. Some people also tend to have doubling of vision. Now let's go to behaviors that people may exhibit. Let's look at children, for instance. You realize that there are some children who in school, they usually are copying from their friends because they are not seeing things well on the board. So they are looking at what their friends are writing in order to copy the same thing. That's a sign of a refractive error. There are some kids, when they are in school, they sit at the back. But if they want to write, they run to the front, look at what is on the board, and they run back to go and write. It's a sign of a refractive error because they are not seeing well. There are some children too, when they are writing, you realize that whatever they are writing is wavy and curved. It's not smooth. It's a sign of refractive error. There are people, when they are reading, also, they exhibit the behavior of jumping lines. They are reading a passage and it's supposed to be continuous, but they will move from line 1 to line 3, then they'll jump to 5, and they are mixing it all. It's also a sign of refractive error. So if you have any of these things that I've talked about, you could be having a refractive error, for which reason you need to see an optometrist to take care of it for you.
I think one of these days I need to come and visit you.
You need to. We've been waiting for you.
But you usually talk about how to manage some of this. Is there a way of managing it, or you really need to go and see the optometrist? What do you do?
So when we talk of management, on a personal level, you can't really manage it well because all the things you'll be doing are the signs, like frowning and straining, and those are not sustainable. There are two main ways of managing refractive errors. One, they are the optical means. And when we talk about optical, we are talking about lenses. So we can give you glasses that can help you to see. We can also give you what we call contact lenses. Those are lenses specially designed that you put on your eyeballs, and even nobody will know that you are wearing glasses. Because one of the things that we have also realized amongst people who have refractive errors is low self-esteem. People don't like wearing glasses because the society perceives them in a particular way. So some people want to get rid of that perception. So contact lenses are the way to go, where we put them directly on your eye. Nobody sees that you have contact lenses on or lenses on, and you're seeing the world in a very beautiful way. And there's also the surgical intervention, where they can do some kind of laser surgeries or put lens implants in your eyes in order for you to be able to see very well. But the most important thing is that whenever you experience these signs that I talked about, you need to see your optometrist immediately because it can affect you in a very bad way moving forward.
I see. Well, so now I guess you have an idea what a refractive error is about. Now, you're doing a whole week for it. First of all, I forgot to ask you about the Ghana Optometric Association, because I just assumed Doc is an optometrist. If this is, then this is a collection of people in his profession. But please, tell us, what is the Ghana Optometric Association?
Okay, so the Ghana Optometric Association is an association made up of optometrists. And we have come together to seek the welfare of these optometrists and to advocate and educate the public on conditions such as refractive errors and many other conditions. I'm sure the world will also want to know who an optometrist is and why they have come together. So an optometrist is an eye care professional who is, one, educated, You go through a long process of education in order to be able to be certified as an optometrist. So you go through 6 years of classroom and clinical work and 1 year of full clinical work. Then you sit an exam. And it's a licensed profession because you need to get a license in order to practice. And it's a regulated profession. There's a council that regulates our practices. And what we do is to take care of eyes. We diagnose diseases, we put management protocols in place, and rehabilitate conditions of the visual system using both optical and medical means. When I say medical, that is medication in order to treat. The limitation of the work of the optometrist is surgery. An optometrist cannot perform surgery on your eyes. However, any other problem to do with your eyes, excluding surgery, can be taken care of by the optometrist. And the Ghana Optometric Association is a group of these professionals.
So, when doc starts doing surgery, what would you then become?
You become an ophthalmologist. So the ophthalmologist is the eye surgeon, and the optometrist is the eye physician.
Okay, clear. Thank you. And that's quite educated. But let me now then go back to, because now you have to mark the day. The day is tomorrow. We've already talked about the week and where you've decided to do that. What are you doing tomorrow?
Okay, so tomorrow we are crowning the week. In fact, this week what we have been doing is education. We've been doing a lot of education through the social media, through mass media. Like I'm seated here talking to Ghanaians about refractive error. And then we've been providing free eye screening services in many clinics. I'll put the list out because the free eye screening is actually ongoing now. And it ends tomorrow.
Free eye screening?
Yes, free eye screening. It's ongoing now. And it's focused on refractive errors. But then tomorrow we'll be having a seminar at UCC where we are actually going to launch the refractive error week and day, the first of its kind in the world, the first of its kind in Africa, and the first of its kind in Ghana. And we'll be having 2 seasoned speakers. These are people who have done a lot of work in refractive errors. One lecturer from the University of Cape Coast, Professor Samuel Chey, and then the other from the KNUST, Dr. Kojo Ekufu. And the theme for tomorrow's seminar is the impact of refractive error on national development. And like I told you, refractive error is the heart of economic development and productivity. So this is just to stir interest and start the conversations on the need for a national strategy on refractive errors.
Fantastic. Before I ask you for your concluding words, you say you shared the list of places where the eye screening is ongoing currently.
Yes.
Okay. Please do that before we move to how you...
All right, so I'll do that. But before I forget, the location for the seminar is University of Cape Coast.
Yeah. I'm wondering why the University of Cape Coast?
Okay. So University of Cape Coast also trains optometrists. There are 2 schools in Ghana that trains optometrists. That's KNUST and University of Cape Coast.
Only the 2?
Only the 2 schools. Yes, and they have been training optometrists for over 20 years. So they have a world of experience in the training of optometrists. And UCC was chosen because it's one of the training centers. So we are having it at the School of Graduate Studies Auditorium at the UCC at 10 a.m. Now, the list of clinics that are providing the free refractive error screenings, it's nationwide. So you can pick your pen. No matter where you are, there definitely is a place for you to go to. So in Mankasim, we have APED Eye Care. In Aguna Swedro, we have Eye Matters Eye Care. We have Eyes of Hope Vision Care in Accra. We have Total Vision Eye Care at Roman Ridge, Accra. We have Eye Vision Center on the Graphic Road in Accra. We have Eyesight Opticals and Eye Care in Techiman. We have Good Lens Eye Care, which has branches in Sunyani, Techiman, and Kintampo. We have My Eye Doctor, which is at Pokwase in Accra. The Salvation Army Hospital is in Riamwase in the Ashanti region. We have Perfect Vision, which is in KNUST Aidiase, and M&D Medical Center also in Pokwase in Accra. We have Frederick Opticals in Domi, Ice ID Eye Center in Tema, Premier Eye Health Center in Accra, Accra Newtown Islamic Hospital, and Fema Eye Care Services in Cape Coast. Walk to any of these clinics and you can have your eyes examined. And if you have a refractive error, they will help you in your management of refractive errors.
Fantastic. Doc, we have to bring this to a close. Your concluding words?
Okay. So, refractive error is at the heart of everything. It affects your sight. And then you need to check your sight because it's one of the main reasons why, or one of the main contributors to your economic well-being.
Okay.
When your eyes are healthy, your wealth is healthy. Okay. Take care of your eyes and your wealth is guaranteed. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure seeing you.
Always a pleasure being here.
A belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Not 1040 this year. It's nice to always a pleasure to have you. Extend my greetings to everybody at Third Eye.
I'll do that. Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. Yes.
Dr. Kwame Obinyako is PRO, Ghana Optometric Association. We have to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk briefly about the UK.